Dear Pats Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pats Nation, nation, nation. Yeah, yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation, nation, nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation. And the show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dear Pats Nation. I am your host, Toronto's Pride and Joy, Mr. Ray Rowden, of course. I'm with my co-host, The Help, Boston's resident angry nerd, producer Mike. Well, everybody, free agency started today. We heard all week that New England was going to cause havoc. I believe it was Ian Rappaport who said, buckle up. The Patriots are ready to make a splash. People woke up this morning believing that Alec Pierce was going to be a Patriot. A deal was going to get done with A.J. Brown. Things were looking up in Patriots land. Let's start with our first story here, which I believe is the most important story of them all, Michael. The Patriots were interested in almost every free agent and signed almost none of them.
Heck yeah.
Man, because as Patriot fans followed the opening wave of free agency, especially on social media, a pattern started to emerge. New England was reportedly in on several players who ultimately signed somewhere else. The biggest one, obviously, as mentioned above, was wide receiver Alec Pierce. He drew a lot of interest from the Patriots. We've heard rumors that they offered up to and including $30 million. But he decided to stay with the Indianapolis Colts on a massive new deal along the defensive front. The Patriots lost Tonga. He was obviously a player who was connected with the Patriots' defensive plan. Ultimately, though, he signed a 3-year deal with those Kansas City Chiefs, who, by the way, people got a whole lot better today. Taken together, the early days of free agency created a very familiar storyline for Patriot fans who were watching the news cycles and refreshing their timelines. New England showing interest in multiple to almost every player, but almost all of those players ultimately landing with other teams in deals never got done. And honestly, Mike, it's not great. But it's also not surprising. For years, these New England Patriots, at one time under the tutelage of Bill Belichick, they built a reputation for being disciplined in free agency. You may be shocked to hear this, but the Patriots' current, whatever it is, executive vice president of player personnel or whatever title they give him, their current general manager learned the ropes from a Mr. One, now newly single, Bill Belichick. Look, the Patriots have always refused to overpay. They've often let other teams win the big bidding wars.
Yep.
The problem now, though, is, Mike, is context has changed. When you are a contender, missing out on a few free agents is just smart roster management. But when you were a team that wrote the coattails of an easy schedule and a whole lot of luck going into the postseason, and you're technically still a team that's rebuilding, that has clear needs at the offensive line, the wide receiver, edge rusher, repeatedly being in on or interested on players who sign elsewhere starts to look less like discipline and more like an ability to close a deal. Fair or not, it's feeding this perception that New England still isn't a top destination right now for free agents. And until they start landing some of these players, instead of finishing second and being interested or in on, that narrative is going to keep growing amongst fans and analysts. Mike, what do you say after what you saw today?
Yeah, disappointed. Really disappointed. They're the perpetual interest kings, right? As you mentioned, that's what this whole phrase comes from. And this you brought it up. I kind of joked with you via text today. It's almost like Bill Belichick was here, right? This is the number we're going to set on a free agent, and we're not going to go beyond it. And it really feels like Bill Belichick 2.0. Oh, a defensive free agent, kind of a role player. Yeah, we'll be in on that guy. Oh, we created a few holes in offense before free agency started. Yeah, that guy was just a little bit outside of our price range, and I think this hurts them in another aspect too. And we'll talk about this going forward when they're negotiating for potential trades. When you're held up like this, guess who has the upper hand now, right?
Yes, I did see. I think it was a Philly fan that put out on an X today, but it made a lot of sense. Basically said, with Pierce signing with the Colts and being off the table so early, it took all the leverage off the table for the Patriots.
Exactly. It took the air right out of the Patriots' tires, and now unless AJ Brown basically, internally within Philly goes, I'm not going anywhere else. That first round pick is real. Like that's the starting point now. When I think the Patriots were kind of hoping to at least probably drag it out more than 30 seconds and saying, maybe we will take AJ Brown for that second round pick, and the Eagles kind of go like, okay, we don't want this falling off the table. But Alec Pierce was basically, as soon as tampering opened up today, he was off the board, right? Like within a minute. I'm not exaggerating. Like the news broke as soon as the day began, basically.
I think the funniest part of the whole Pierce situation was he goes on national television or whatever, national internet just last week and talks about how he owes it to himself to explore free agency only to sign. But you know what, though, to be honest with you, I know he goes back and he signs with the Colts. I don't think anybody's giving that guy he's literally Chris Hogan. Like that $30 million a year for a little bit of a better version. He's not Randy Moss.
No, I don't think so. But here's the problem, I think, and this is a larger kind of question about, Mike Vrabel and his approach to free agency, which is, again, a la Bill Belichick. I'll take a risk on defensive free agents. I'll overpay a little for Milton Williams last year. In fact, we'll even go back to Carolina, or I'm sorry, we'll go back to the Eagles and up the bid because the Panthers are interested. I still think I would have rather given Alec Pierce $30 million than give up a first for AJ Brown. And I genuinely mean that.
I can't confirm this, but I do believe that I read today he was offered $30 million. He chose to take $1.5 million less to stay with Indy. And sometimes, Mike, it is the evil you know to the evil you don't. There's also a lot less pressure to play in Indianapolis. It's a lot more quiet there. As much as they're a football town, it's not Boston. It's not Massachusetts. It's not an ecosystem of hate and an ecosystem of expectations. And I think if you're trying to lure a guy away from comfortability of playing in a dome for half the season and, putting them in a position, $1.5 million, I don't think makes the difference. And you and I have had this discussion in the past when it comes to money. We see players and teams get hung up on like $750,000, and the team, it's because of cap space and it restructures. If you add 750, it changes the whole structure to the contract. But the player's like, no, I need to make this, and you're sitting there going like, you need to make $15,750,000. $15 million is not enough. In this case, I think it was that $1.5 million wasn't enough to leave the evil and leave the comfort and leave the comfort of the dome and stay in Indianapolis where you can live a relatively normal life, not go into the ecosystem of Boston, which we know is a cesspool. And sometimes I do believe when free agents don't go to New England, the media has to look themselves right in the mirror and understand that you're the reason that people don't want to be here sometimes. We have that here in Toronto with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
There are guys born and raised in Toronto, have been Leaf fans their entire life that do not want to play in the ecosystem of the Toronto media. And I think $1.5 million when you're talking about the difference between 28.5 and 30 million wasn't enough to lure an Alec Pierce. Also, if the Patriots give 35 million, I think you and I are flipping, saying, how can you give that kind of money to Alec Pierce when AJ Brown is on the table? Give up the first and just bring Brown in.
Sure, yeah. I'm just gonna and like listen, I'm not all like he went back to Indy. That like when a player goes back to their own team or the team that drafted them, it feels like less of a loss. Like listen, if they lost him to the Raiders for $30 million, I would have went like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? The big piece for me here is it seems like the Patriots are doing something they did for years. And the number I heard reported is they were in at about 27, which means they put it in to their like little Patriots calculator and go, well, you'll have the privilege of playing for the New England Patriots, so you'll take a little bit less than what the market offer is. And I really don't like that because Drake May is not Tom Brady, right? They should be, you know what, that extra 2 or 3 million, we'll do it. We'll do it to make sure our young quarterback has a safety blanket so that we're not held hostage for a first round pick, so that we're not potentially looking at an AJ Brown that can't play in a year and a half. And you know what? We'll front load an Alec Pierce's contract so that when Drake May's contract does roll around, it's not going to hurt us. Instead, it looks like Robert, well, and we'll get into the money piece of it, so I don't want to step on that, but I don't like the fact that they seem like they're operating like Tom Brady is still here. You know what I mean? That's the big piece for me.
And I just want to throw out one other point that I think people need to consider. It's only day one of the tampering period. There are other wide receivers on the table. Also, there are other trade options on the table. I haven't heard anything saying that the Patriots and Philadelphia have broken conversation. Perhaps they gave Pierce that offer. He said no, and they just pivoted because they said there's better options out there. Mm-hmm. I'm also hearing that the Jaguars have now confirmed they're taking offers for Brian Thomas Jr. Now, it might cost you a couple of first-round picks because he is very young, but maybe that's somebody the Patriots are willing to give up big draft capital for because you will have that guy in the long term. I also think that the Patriots may be looking at the draft, saying we have more confidence in ourselves now drafting because we don't have Bill Belichick saying, I really like this third-round guard. Let's take him with the 31st overall pick. Let's, move. So there's could be little different things happening. It's only day one. I'm going to be honest with you. Only having a one-day show where we break up all the content from this show for the entire week is a difficult week to create the micro content and create things. And it's something that I'm going to have to do on the daily. For instance, this topic right now has to go out very early tomorrow morning, hoping that nothing happens between now and by the time it goes out. So things could drastically change for the Patriots, but we need to move on. And why don't we actually talk about something the Patriots did do today? Because right at 12 o'clock, we got the news that the New England Patriots made a notable move on the defensive side of the ball. They signed veteran pass rusher Draymond Jones to a 3-year deal worth $39 million during the opening of NFL free agency. Jones is a 29-year-old former third-round pick out of the Ohio State University. He brings versatility and interior pass rush ability to a Patriots defense that has been looking for more pressure up front. He's coming off a strong season in which he recorded 7 sacks and consistently generated quarterback pressures, and the Patriots are betting that production will translate in their system. Now, the move has drawn mixed reactions online from fans and analysts. Some see it as a solid addition who can line up in multiple spots along the defensive line. He can also drop back into the linebacker position, while others view him as more of a complementary piece rather than a true game-changing edge rusher. Either way, It's clear New England is trying to build a defensive front that reloads for the 2026 season. Defensive end was a position that we said the Patriots needed to address. They did address that position. It wasn't a wide receiver, but we did say we didn't think they were going to address all three positions in free agency, so they did address that. Now, Patriot fans shouldn't expect Draymond Jones to suddenly become a 15-sack superstar. It's not going to happen. And that's not really why New England brought him in. What he gives the Patriots defense is versatility and consistent pressure up front. He had 24 quarterback hits last season. I believe the highest quarterback hit ratio for the Patriots was 19. If I'm not mistaken, you can go look at Doug Kyde's X account. He actually put out the numbers today, but it wasn't near 24. He's the kind of player that disrupts plays even when he's not finishing them. And in a Mike Vrabel style defense that likes multiple fronts and creative pressure packages, Jones fits as a movable piece who can attack mismatches and help collapse the pocket from different spots. I like to think of him as a bigger, less athletic line guy instead of a safety, as what they had with Jabril Peppers. He's the defensive line or defensive end version of what Jabril Peppers was, who could line up as a safety, a strong safety, and a linebacker for the Patriots. Jones gives that same sort of versatility. You're going to get steady production, maybe 6 to 8 sacks, plenty of pressure, and the kind of disruptive presence that makes life easier for the rest of the Patriots pass rush. The two guys that should be the most excited about this signing, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, because now teams are going to have to pay attention to the edges, and that's going to give more of a lane for those middle rushers. Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna sum this up real quick because this was an easy one for me today. They let Jelani Tavai go basically right before this signing happened. To me, this is Mike Vrabel's version of Jelani Tavai, just like a good middle of the road, like, oh, I need this guy, like you said, to drop back and pass rush. I need him to, or I'm sorry, drop back into coverage. I need him to pass rush. I need him to be a little bit of a multi-purpose tool. That to me is more what this is. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they let the linebacker go that kind of played that role literally like minutes before they sign this guy. So, and obviously I think it's a little bit of Harold Landry insurance. I don't think they're done at the edge rusher position. I think Keelan Chason's market was a lot cooler than they thought it was going to be, because there were some guys that like out of left field today. And this is another thing for like Patriots fans and NFL fans in general. Every once in a while, we get one of these free agencies that kind of makes you kind of sit back and have to reassess of what you think of what positional players are getting paid. I want to say I'm gonna butcher it. It's not Adrian Phillips. Who's the pass rusher that got traded to the Eagles? Jalen Phillips. He got paid like $30 million a year. Just yesterday, I was hearing about how this guy might make like 15 to 18, possibly 20, and that would put him out of the Patriots range. And all of a sudden, he signs like some mega deal. You know, this is one of those free agencies where I'm like, I have to sit back as a guy who looks at this stuff every day and go, wow, even role players now are making $20 million a year in the NFL. So I'm not really surprised by what this guy is or what he's going to do. And I'm actually happy for it. And we still may see more.
I'm happy with the move too. I think what everybody needs to remember that this cap space doesn't like roll over into next year. Like if they sign a multi-year deal with somebody, the cap hit will continue to roll through. So if you make a big free agent signing today, it's going to affect this year. It's probably going to be an even bigger cap hit next year and an even bigger cap hit in 2 years from now. That's how the cap works. I want to remind everybody, if the Patriots went out and say, let's say, got A.J. Brown, how would you feel, Mike? I'll put this to you. You can speak on behalf of Pats Nation, and I know that people are going to hate that, but I'll let you speak on behalf of Patriot fans.
We're going to get some hate mail after this.
How would you feel if next season Elliott Wolf stands in front of the press and says, we went all in last year we can't afford to extend and sign Christian Gonzalez because we're paying AJ Brown $40 million and we're paying this guy $30 million. What would go through your head at that point?
I mean, my initial thoughts when you say that is something that the Patriots kind of do, and the salary cap is garbage. The Patriots are the only one, like one of the few teams I think that are really fastidious about it. And it does get frustrating. I understand why they do it, but it's one of those things that if you want to, if you have the players under contract and your owner is willing to put the cash forward, you can always manipulate the cap.
But it all comes down to the cap space isn't irrelevant. And I saw a really good argument for this today.
No, it's not.
And I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Cap, it's like a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So like all these teams that manipulate the cap, a la the Kansas City Chiefs and what they're doing right now,
Right.
that manipulate the cap, at some point have to pony up and pay. And either you're going to do two things. You're going to lose Trent McDuffie,
Right.
which I think was a massive hit for the Chiefs, just so they could sign a running back. I think losing McDuffie, but McDuffie, I think, got $24 million a year from Los Angeles.
More. He got 30, 31, 32.
Sorry, 31, 32 million a year.
Yeah.
So I think about it. Trent McDuffie's making 32 million a year.
Yeah.
35, 40, easy for Christian Gonzalez. Easy. Think about it, Mike.
They're not going to go that much further. They might go a million or two.
Somebody else may, though.
He
But
will.
I'm saying,
He will be. I'll put it
that's what I'm
this
saying,
way.
though. If Trent McDuffie is making that kind of money, think about what Gonzo's going to demand.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he's not going to set the market. That's
yeah. So what I'm getting at is, though, the Kansas City Chiefs had cap problems last season. That just happened. They knew that.
Yeah.
And what happened? They had no offensive line. They lost Patrick Mahomes at the end of the season. They had no wide receivers. They had a somewhat capable defense because the credit card bill came in.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to the 2020 season, which was probably the best season for this to happen to the Patriots. Tom Brady's dead money. Devin McCourty's dead money. All of a sudden, there was a lot of dead money on the books for guys who were no longer on the Patriots. Maybe McCourty was the next year, but there was a lot of dead money. I think there was something like a quarter of their salary cap was in dead money of guys that were no longer, and that was those 3-year deals.
Yeah.
The third year was a false deal. And so you can manipulate the cap, but at some point you're going to have to pay it.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I also think, and I'm sure the Patriots have to have this in mind, until they start hitting in the draft a little bit and start getting some consistency through the draft, like the Bills haven't hit and the Chiefs haven't hit. So they're constantly having to pony up this big money. But I want to say to you, like, did Buffalo really get better? They got Josh Allen, a receiver, but they depleted their entire secondary.
They think they got better.
They do. Better. Well, I mean, again, they got him a wide receiver. That's going to be a scary combination.
No,
but like they depleted their but they're going to give up 40 points a game because they're going to have no secondary unless they hit on some draft picks.
And then next year it's a cycle, right? Like they'll rush to get a cornerback because their secondary will suck. But again, what like vicious cycle, right? And this is the one reason why I'm like, take a chance on Alec Pierce because you don't have to give up the draft pick. It's just money. The thing that kills teams in their salary caps is when they try to go for a Super Bowl, right? And as Patriots fans, we're conditioned to think of our team over the course of a decade when really the NFL exists in 4 to 5 year windows now, and then you reset anyway. You take that credit card bill and you pay it in year 5 or 6. That's what you do. That's what all teams do now. That really, and if your coach is really good, you find a way around it. Look at San Francisco, right? They always seem to find a way around that, and that happens.
Of course they do, because they haven't had a real quarterback. I'm sorry,
right?
They haven't had a real quarterback in 15 years there,
right?
It's been a carousel of quarterbacks. The thing is, I disagree with you in one sense. And it's not it's not my Patriots delusion. It's history of the NFL. The Patriots, the Colts, the Steelers, those were all teams with long-term longevity, constantly making the playoffs. And what was the common denominator? Quarterback. So I think that you can play the long game and be successful if you have the right quarterback. Now, people believe it's Drake May. To me, he's done nothing to prove that he's not. So if he is the right guy, I think you got to be a little cautious, because if Indy doesn't put all their money into wide receivers and running backs and offensive line for Peyton Manning and actually puts a defense on the field, they win more than one Super Bowl in that stretch. How many times did the defense let Peyton Manning down where he scored 38 points and they lose 40-38?
Yeah.
Right? Or when they did invest in an offense, there was no offensive line and Peyton Manning would run for his life. The Steelers run. The Steelers were always very cautious with their money. The Patriots were always very cautious with their money. And, you know, they were able to roll things through. And then you can throw in Baltimore, who, okay, they didn't have the great quarterback, but they invested heavy in their defense, which kept them in the rotation.
This is interesting, though, right? And this is why I say, like, the modern NFL. You're bringing up versions of this that are more than a decade old at this point. So I would argue to you that the Ravens right now are maxing out their credit card, Max Crosby, because they know
100%
their quarterback shelf life is limited. And in 2, max 3 years, when all this comes due, the Baltimore Ravens, as we know it, are just going to blow up. I almost guarantee you they're going to trade Lamar Jackson, or he's going to get released.
But I think that Kansas City didn't have to shell out what they have over the years and could have still been successful and won Super Bowls. I don't think Patrick Mahomes needed the Legion of Zoom to win a Super Bowl. And they are also a team that proved they could move on from Tyreek Hill and win a Super Bowl, Kareem Hunt and win a Super Bowl. So I think the Chiefs had a weird year this year.
Yeah.
And to me, when you have a great quarterback, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, I think you can look at the way the old school rosters used to build. You don't have to max out. I do not have Lamar Jackson in the same conversation as Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. And I know that Ravens fans are going to kill me for that, but I really don't. I don't have them in the same conversation.
Yeah, I think this just goes, the Max Crosby trade should show all Ravens fans out there. Sorry, we didn't mean to take an inadvertent shot at Lamar Jackson tonight. That's just the way
it's how it crumbles. It wasn't on the list.
It's how it goes. But I think it shows you that they think they need to put more on their defense and less on that offense to win, because I think they know that the quarterback has taken too much damage along the way over the last couple of years.
He is, and he can't throw the football. Let's face it. He's got an okay arm, but I don't know. What's the last quarterback that was primarily a running quarterback that won a Super Bowl?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and he didn't win because of his offense, as far as I'm concerned.
No, he did enough. He did enough to win.
He did. He had probably one of the greatest offensive lines I've ever seen in NFL history in front of him. Like Lane Johnson, Kelsey, and all those guys. Those were.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you go pound for pound, probably one of the best offensive lines we've ever seen.
Yeah.
A unique offensive play caller. I think anytime you introduce something into the NFL, like the tush push, it takes a while for, you think about the Miami Wildcat that took the NFL teams a little while to really figure out. But I don't know how any Philly fan can be real and be like, hey, we won the Super Bowl because of Jalen Hurts and not because they had an outstanding defense and they had a great offensive line, and Jalen Hurts had one of the best wide receivers in the league on his team and did enough to win the championship.
They really had to. I mean, and this is a lot of credit to the GM there, right? Howie Roseman, and that's why I don't begrudge him for doing what he's doing with the Patriots. They failed drafting wide receiver for about 2 years. They went and got AJ Brown, and they added Devonta Smith. So all of a sudden, you had this 1-2 punch at receiver They go to the Super Bowl the one year, just miss out because the quarterback fumbles. Then they come back with like this revamped defense and offense with Saquon Barkley, and are like, okay, we're gonna go win it. And it was incredible, not because of the quarterback, but because of the roster.
Steelers have made another move. They're really trying, bringing in Michael Pittman, and
Yeah.
I think they've re-signed Samuel, right?
That would have been a good. Would you have liked Pittman for the Patriots? I think
You
that
know,
might have.
I'm a big fan of Michael Pittman, and I think they
Yeah.
got him for like a fifth or a seventh, like some
Yeah,
really.
they dumped the money. That's why they wanted the money to pay Pierce, so they kind of just moved him for a draft pick, and then they paid him. Which I mean, I think they guaranteed him another $20 million a year or something like that. So I liked him. I would have liked him for the Patriots. He's really sure-handed. I don't think he's had a lot of drops, and he's had like 80 catches like his last 3 seasons.
Oh, we have some breaking news here.
Oh boy.
The Empire State Building's official Twitter account has said, "Congratulations to Donna Kelsey on remodeling her modest Florida home." So I did hear a rumor today.
What's up?
I heard that Taylor Swift's future mother-in-law's youngest son signed with the Kansas City Chiefs today just so he doesn't have to help with the home renovations.
It wouldn't shock me.
That's breaking news here. You heard it here first. Thank you to TMZ though for that crack reporting yesterday.
Dude,
that had to be a troll, right? Like that had to have been the greatest troll in the like. Nobody sat down to write that interview and be like, you know, or that story and go, this is gonna like that. It broke the internet, like all to them. They did well.
Yeah, they did well. Yeah, I'm so pissed. By the way, I texted you that thing about Travis Kelce today, and literally, like, I couldn't even drag out the joke for 15 minutes. Like, he signed within 5 minutes of that. I was like,
It was a bout face turn. Okay, let's talk about another massive signing by the Patriots today.
Oh boy. Oh man. Pure Patriots right here.
So listen, the Patriots signed fullback Rich. Is it Gilliam or Gillum? How do I say it? Is it Gilliam?
Gilliam.
It was Gilliam. I was right. Good for me. So the Patriots signed fullback Reggie Gilliam. Well, a whole lot of the conversation today, Mike, was around the Patriots' early free agency focused, misses. They quietly made the biggest signing of the entire offseason by signing fullback Reggie Gilliam away from the Buffalo Bills, which, by the way, I'm all for a good fullback story, but I never thought and never had on my 2026 bingo card that I would watch Bills fans crash out over losing a fullback. They are very, very upset at Bean that they've let this fullback
he's
walk
gonna
away.
Give up our playbook. Oh my God, he's gonna give away our playbook. What are we doing?
So New England agreed to a 3-year term at about $12 million. He's versatile, and he's built a reputation of being a really, really good lead blocker, which I think also tells you that the Patriots are set on continuing that run combination of Ramondre Stevenson and oh my gosh, my Ohio State boy,
Travion Henderson.
Thank you, Michael. Travion Henderson. Obviously, he spent his entire career with the Buffalo Bills, and he has helped power one of the better rushing attacks in the NFL. So he is a do-it-all back, right? He can catch the occasional pass. He can really block. He's good on special teams. He kind of meets all those pieces that, it fits a classic Patriots philosophy. You're adding a tough, versatile player who can help in the run game, can help on special teams, doing a lot of the dirty work. It doesn't show up in the stat box. But we all remember Matt Devlin and everything he did for Sony Michel and how important he was to the Super Bowl. And I think revisionist history, they forget how important Devlin was to this team, but he was key. And when he got injured the next season, I think we saw how much the Patriots offense struggled without him. Yep. And I think with a running back duo that did so well, and I do expect them to add a third running back or even bring back Gibson if he's going to be on the mend. But I assume him to add somebody, whether through free agency or through draft. I think this is a good move. It's one of those. This is one of those we'll look back at the end of next season and be like, that was a pretty good signing.
Yeah, I totally agree with this. And it kind of kind of like passed everybody by, that it was like, oh, they didn't re-sign Austin Hooper. They didn't look to sign a tight end. To me, this is their second tight end. Like, this is what they want. That's how they're gonna use this guy. That's why throughout the whole day I was like, why is everybody so confused about why they're not signing another tight end? They're clearly looking to draft a tight end long term and invest in the development. They're not gonna go spend another $20 million at tight end.
I 100% agree with you. I think that you and I were talking about something today. Oh, you asked me about Travis Kelce. You made that joke that Travis Kelce is going to join the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I said to you, he's basically Hunter Henry, just old. I just, oh my gosh, Ray. I'm going to delete the I tried to send you a private message, and I made it a public message.
Oh boy. Was it bad? I didn't even
No, it wasn't. It's actually a little embarrassing. But
oh boy.
All right, I'll just say it. How do I phonetically say Tonga's first name?
Kyrus.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's, me, I struggle with names.
Yeah, anybody who watches us knows that Ray has pronunciation specialty issues.
It's not the people watching the live stream, it's the people who are just watching the clip videos after that be like, what the hell? So I don't know if you heard about this, Mike, but the Patriots lost Kyrus Tonga today to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Bastards. The war's back on. Fuck.
Oh yeah, the rivalry's back on.
Sorry, I don't usually swear. I had to for effect there.
Chris Ballard. Do you think he's still mad at Josh McDaniels?
Oh, of course. Of course. You know why the Colts are mad at Chris Ballard today? Or the Colts fans are mad at the Patriots today? The Patriots made them re-sign Alec Pierce to that money. It was the Patriots' fault. He shouldn't have even gotten to free agency because they should have just been able to negotiate with him.
Is that really what they're saying?
Who knows? Probably.
I just love
no. Sorry, no. Knowing Colts fans and a certain segment of Colts fans, this was the plan.
Who are you talking? Who? Oh, Ballard's
they are the smart. They're the smartest fan base. They're the smartest ownership, front office group. This was the plan the whole time. They were just trying to steady the ship and make him happy.
I also heard that the negotiations with Jones petered out at $50 million, which is hilarious to me. Hilarious.
Can you imagine that? Oh yeah, I'm coming off a torn ACL in a season that just exploded. Oh yeah, I want $50 million. Go kick rocks.
This was a move I didn't overly like today. As you knew, Mike, Tonga was a guy. Why do you keep taking it off? Are you screwing with me?
That's not me.
I think I set a timer. I did set a timer.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not me.
Oh, no. How do I take the timer off?
Hands up.
No, I got it. Every time I put it up, it just keeps counting down. I don't know how to untime it. 20, 60, off. There we go.
Great,
there it is.
Great programming.
Well, when the producer doesn't produce, and I have to do it.
I really should, get on here at some point and play with all this stuff and
learn how to
run a show before the channel gets big again. That way, you can actually focus on other things. But
all right, let me start this again.
Sure.
The Patriots lost Kyrus Tonga today to the Kansas City Chiefs. As I said at the top of the show, the Kansas City Chiefs got better today.
They did.
One thing the Patriots did really, really well last season was stop the run. And when you can stop the run and it means nothing in a game, you can make an offense one-dimensional. And when you make an offense one-dimensional, especially when you're kind of playing subpar quarterback play like the Patriots were playing, you can absolutely destroy teams and go on a 10-game, 11-game winning streak and even get all the way to the Super Bowl, as the Patriots did. We noticed a significant loss when Tonga was not in the lineup.
Yep.
And to me, this was a cheap play to put a guy in who can make an offense one-dimensional and a good rotational piece with the other two, big guys up front. From what we heard, they all basically had a deal done. This is what I was reading today. They had a deal done, I think, before the postseason last year.
Yep.
And it all kind of fell apart at the end, and now he's a Kansas City Chief. I don't like it. Like, out of everything that happened today, not signing a wide receiver, not signing an offensive lineman, which honestly, Patriot fans, I'm more upset about that than I am about wide receiver. I think everyone's like, who's he going to throw to? Well, if he keeps getting hit like a pinata, it doesn't matter who he's going to throw to. They got to protect Drake May, and I wanted to see something happen at the offensive line position. However, out of everything that's happened today, this Tonga move actually bothered me the most. Like, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it bothered me, but this is definitely like one of those middle of the roster guys that gave them a lot that I would have liked to see them re-sign. Who knows what they lost him for or what the holdup was. I'm sure somebody will leak it, in the coming months that, oh, he wanted 15 million a year and it blew up. And I'm going to be a little extreme here. I wouldn't have been surprised if they held on to Kairos Tonga and let Christian Barmore walk. I think I mentioned that to you in private, but I think they got a lot out of him this year, and I would have been excited to kind of see a year two out of Kairos Tonga. But it sounds like this is another person that they might have held the line with, and for a couple $1,000,000 for like, thinking that his market wasn't going to be that great.
Christian Barmore, to me, could have been the trade piece to maybe put some of these deals over the edge.
Yeah, he still might be.
He might be, but now you got to replace. I don't like when you have to replace somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, Tonga doesn't replace Barmore by any means, but you don't have to replace Barmore now. You just have to find another service, especially with Milton Williams there.
Right.
To me, as soon as they signed Milton Williams, the need for Christian Barmore became less.
Yeah.
And to me, with Milton Williams, we have our Vince Wilfork, and going to old school way. Now we need our Rob Ninkoviches, which we probably got in Jones today, in Draymond Jones.
Yeah.
And Barmore could have been a trade piece, but having Tonga in that rotation, because the Patriots lost Milton Williams for a couple games last year. I think they actually lost Tonga at the same time, which caused a whole lot of issues. But let's assume that that's not going to be a regular with those two players. It'd be nice to have Tonga on the field if Milton Williams for some reason can't go.
Yeah, and like I said, that middle of the roster guy. Now they had like some third and fourth string like defensive tackles do really well for them. That's the only reason I could see them go kind of like, all right, like this is the threshold we're willing to spend and let him walk. But again, I agree with you, just not like the best taste in my mouth, and feels like this is a guy they should have tried to hold on to for a little bit more money.
I just can't get over all these Donna Kelsey memes out there.
Yeah.
It's just
the other thing you brought up too, before I forget, because I will lose it in like 2 seconds. I think the offensive linemen are probably going to come tomorrow. There's a lot of guards and tackles out there, so I think we're going to see some of those Cleveland offensive linemen that Vrabel's been kind of linked to probably move tomorrow. So I think we'll see that. I just don't think that's the hot ticket, first day of free agency type of moves.
I hate that, by the way, too. Like, if you need an offensive lineman, just get your offensive lineman. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
If you're not trying to make another move anyways, unless they were just all in on the Pierce deal and just thought, okay, like, we'll.
Yeah, I think honestly that's their Chris Godwin from last year. I think they had all their eggs in that basket, and now it's like.
Except last year they pivoted and went straight to Milton Williams.
Yeah.
What's the pivot now?
I think they're going to try to hammer home either the trade for Brian Thomas or AJ Brown, and who knows? Maybe they'll go get Brandon Ayuk off the freaking salvage heap or something.
So I want to throw another name at you, and this got brought up in our text with each other, but it was actually kind of it was a joke, but now I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who I think is not going to cost a whole lot of money, who could be your second tight end or third tight end, depending how you want to position him.
Mm-hmm.
Can I refloat out the name of Jonnu Smith? He needs. I know it was a joke between us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt to have two tight ends on your team. And don't tell me they have a second tight end. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like he might be there on the depth chart, but he's not. Why not go and get Jonnu Smith?
I just don't think Josh McDaniels knows how to use him. I think we saw that in his first year here, and I think Josh McDaniels, for some reason, with those move tight ends, just gets lost. I don't think he knows how to use them. I would just rather go if you're gonna do that, go get David Njoku. Spend a little bit more money for a better player that'll probably fit what you want to do. He's bigger, he blocks. He's still out there. I'm surprised people haven't mentioned his name. Nope, I'm okay with not Jonnu.
I'm sorry. I'm just I'm just I'm constantly updating X because anything. This is one
Yeah,
of those
me
years.
too. I keep looking down at my phone, which I try not
I
to
was
do.
I was live. I think my last free agent blitz a few years ago, and as I was on air, Kyle Van Noy re-signed with the team when it looked like the Patriots were making moves in the offseason. But I just had to laugh because first I refreshed the phone. First thing I see, the Patriots had interest in left guard Isaac. I don't know the name. Samalu before he ultimately signed with the Cardinals. I'm just so sick of reading the Patriots had interest in somebody. It's driving me absolutely just insane.
Bonkers. Yeah, it you know, that's when the Patriots are relevant again, because it just reminds me of like free agency of the past. It's like, even if you knew it was somebody like the Patriots absolutely weren't interested in, they used to attach the Patriots name to drive the price up, to be like, oh, can't let Belichick get that guy.
And Belichick is like, who?
Yeah. Why would I want another quarterback?
Okay, so I'm going to throw stats at you just for fun.
All right,
you tell me who tell me who the two players are and who's going to make more money next season.
Oh boy. All right.
So these are 2025 stats. 1,401 yards to 1,003 yards. 11 touchdowns to 6 touchdowns. 12 yards per reception to 21.3 yards per reception. 117 receptions to 6 receptions. One's going to be making 27.5 million. One's going to be making 29 million. Who am I talking about?
Oh, geez. One's Alec Pierce. The other one's AJ Brown.
Nope. One is Alex Pierce. One is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, okay.
And to me, Amon-Ra St. Brown's like the best wide receiver in the NFL. He's like a left nut guy that I would give up to have him on our team.
He's just a warrior, doesn't talk a lot. Like, gets
and Alex Pierce is going to make more money than him next season.
That's the way it goes.
The market. Okay, I think it's fair to say the Patriots roster has gotten worse. There's no way that anybody can look at this. This isn't me being like, oh, because Patriot fans were bitchy today. Like,
they are. Yeah,
obnoxiously bitchy, irritating me, obnoxiously bitchy. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they got better losing those players and bringing in Jones and Gilliam. But it got worse today. Mm-hmm. Do you trust the Patriots front office and their owner to make this roster better?
I do, but big caveat. How are they going to do it? Because I think at this point they're going to have to give up draft capital that they didn't want to, and they really can't afford to. Again, I'm gonna beat this over the head. I would rather overpay for Alec Pierce. I guess at this point it's going to be like a Romeo Dobbs, than give up a first and a second for AJ Brown. And I understand that's what the Raiders, the Eagles are asking. I think AJ Brown is worth what DJ Moore went for. I think he's worth a second round pick. I think Eagles fans are nuts. I think they're trying to justify the fact that their GM wants too much. This team needs its draft capital more than they need AJ Brown. But and again, this all is one encompassing thought. You need a security blanket for Drake May. So they're stuck. The way Stephon Diggs' contract was structured, they probably thought it was genius last year, and it came back to bite them in the ass because they were so hung up on that $6 million to give up somebody else that now they're out in the cold. They're out in a blizzard and they need a blanket. And anything will do, whether it's a piece of grass or like the nicest blanket in the world at this point.
Is there a world where Drake May's safety blanket next year is Stephon Diggs?
There is. I think he could find his way back. I think they want this court thing resolved. I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to get touched until this court thing gets resolved.
I've heard rumors from people I know that letting him go actually had nothing to do with the money. It had with them not knowing what was going to happen with this court thing. And New England, of all teams, I believe, is, especially with that owner, is very sensitive to violent crimes.
Yes.
Which, by the way, actually, we didn't address today because it kind of happened just as I was prepping the show near the end. Christian Barmore has had all of his charges dropped.
Yeah, good for him. I know there's some things there with his maturity, long term that aren't withstanding that we talked about before. But I still think he could be a trade piece. But also now, if he does stay here, he doesn't have to have this shadow loom over him all season, which is good.
So I want to ask you the $100 million question before we get to our last clickbait topic here, which has nothing to do. Well, it has something to do with free agency, but it's just a reason for me to rip on somebody. The Patriots obviously have taken a conservative approach to free agency yet again.
Yeah.
Do you blame Elliott Wolf or do you blame Robert Kraft?
This is tough, right? Because all along, like at the combine the last couple of weeks, they were like, the reporting was like the Patriots have their plan and they're not going to deviate from their plan. That being said, I ultimately have to blame Robert Kraft, right? And we kind of brought it up before. I think they're so focused on we need to justify every dollar that goes out and account for every dollar that goes out on the spreadsheet versus observing the situation around them. Instead of overpaying the free agent that's available to conserve draft capital, they're so concerned about, well, we're going to have $100 million going out for Drake May and Christian Gonzalez when every other team in the league right now is like, that's when we spend. That's when we try to get to the Super Bowl. That's when we push it all in and figure out what our quarterback is about. And the scariest thing for Patriots fans will be this season if they don't go into the season with a good receiver for Drake May, it's going to undo like everything that was done last year because it's going to give validity to the soft schedule argument, but it's also going to give birth to this, well, you didn't put enough around him. What do you expect argument? You put Kyle Williams around him and Kayshon Boutte. That's not enough. So I think they're really doing a disservice to themselves on multiple fronts.
Mike, if you're looking for someone to blame for the Patriots' approach to free agency, the reality is it starts at the top, and the top is Robert Kraft. So I totally agree with you. Like, Wolf may be the one making the calls and negotiating deals, but as you said, historically, the Patriots' spending philosophy has always come from ownership. He liked Bill Belichick because of how Bill Belichick approached the salary cap. If you read the Dynasty, it goes back to Bill Parcells calling him saying, I need to sign so-and-so player, and Robert Kraft signing a huge check and saying, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
For 2 decades under Belichick, this organization prided itself on discipline, rarely, if ever, overpaying in free agency and trusting its system to develop players instead. Mike, that worked when Tom Brady was covering up a lot of roster issues, and this team was competing for championships every year. The problem now is the Patriots aren't that team anymore, and Drake May is not Tom Brady.
Yep.
The Patriots, despite going to a Super Bowl last season, are still rebuilding, and people are missing that point. They're still in a rebuild. They have major holes on the roster, major holes, offensive line, wide receiver, defensively, up front. So if they're still sitting back while other teams are aggressively moving to improve, that feels way less like a front office decision and more like an organizational philosophy that hasn't caught up to the reality of where the team is right now.
Yeah.
And I just want to put this out there. After 8 years of fighting tooth and nail with anybody who came into the stratosphere, do you still blame Bill Belichick for not getting Tom Brady a free agent wide receiver? Because clearly the spending goes way beyond. I'm starting to believe that Bill Belichick didn't have I think Bill Belichick had control of the roster as long as he followed the Robert Kraft philosophy.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember me ever saying this line. The last year we did the show where it was Belichick and Kraft still there, and I really came to repeat this a lot. If Robert Kraft said, "Go spend my money, you idiot," and Bill Belichick wasn't, how dumb does that sound? Like, I don't care. Like, go sign people. It does, like, and I get it. Like, listen, it was a symbiotic relationship in the sense that Bill archaically used his values, like assigning monetary values to players and positions, to then control like the hierarchy of the roster. For example, for the longest time, he said the quarterback is going to make the most on the roster. And by holding Tom Brady's salary down, he therefore kept everyone's salary down. That's like a Bill Belichick, like ego, psychological mind game. But I don't think Bill was the one going like, oh, you actually have $100 million to spend this year. You don't have the $200 million available to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, Mike, real quick before we hit the last subject for the last minute or so.
Yep.
One free agent gets signed tomorrow. Who do you want it to be?
Oh, jeez.
I have mine. Can I tell you mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Elijah Vera Tucker.
I was gonna say a left guard. There are a couple out there, but that is like the most outstanding hole on the roster right now. And I made the joke. So inside track to what Ray and I talk about, right? I texted him over the weekend. I might have been a little bit under the influence, but I was just like sitting there thinking, I was like, wow, this Patriots free agency, you create a hole at guard and wide receiver. What does that remind me of? The last time we did a live draft and they reached for
Cole Strange
and Tyquan Thornton. I'm like, we're setting up for that all over again. So please, Patriots, like, even if you don't sign a wide receiver tomorrow, sign like a good left guard, so we're not drafting a left guard at 31.
Here's my prediction. Elijah Vera Tucker and Deebo Samuel will be New England Patriots tomorrow. Do you want my hottest take, though? My most realistic take?
Sure.
After what I saw happen today, and they just signed a running back as well, Kyler Murray is a Pittsburgh Steeler tomorrow.
And you think Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be?
No, I think Aaron Rodgers is done. I know he's still deciding, but I think he's done.
That would be interesting because, see, I think the Vikings might have designs on Kyler. There's going to be a lot of teams that actually have interest in him. Like, this always happens with quarterbacks that everybody thinks are kind of meh.
Yeah.
They've gotten a second life lately, so I don't know. We'll see. But that would be an interesting one. It really would be.
What do you think about Deebo to the Patriots?
Nope.
I heard forever that we could have had Deebo.
Yeah, nope. Washed King.
What about Jennings?
That wouldn't be as bad to me. If they if they're gonna do something like that again, like check in on Brandon Ayuk or Calvin Ridley, like you did homework on these guys the last 2 years. They can't like I guess Brandon Ayuk, if you believe some of the rumors that his knee could be absolutely destroyed, then maybe
Yeah.
not. But like, go check on Calvin Ridley. Like he's not that far removed from when you did some homework on him. But Jennings wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, I think Jennings would be an interesting one, and I do have a funny feeling that Clavon Chason will be a New England Patriot again.
I think he'll be back.
I think the market's not as hot for him as he thought it was going to be, and he'll be back.
I would like my biggest hot take is I do think the Patriots are going to move on from AJ Brown because they're going to feel like they're backed into a corner and don't want to lose that negotiation. So I feel like they will pivot and give Jacksonville what they want for Brian Thomas Jr.
Which
because
I heard 2 firsts. That's what I'm hearing right now.
too much.
I think a first and a second. A first this year,
Yeah.
a second next year.
Yeah.
I think is a reasonable offer. Actually, if I'm Jacksonville, I may look at the Patriots and say I want a second this year and
You're
a
not
first
getting
next year.
You're not doing. And I heard this rumor about the Eagles today. I will tell you why this is not going to happen. This is some inside nerd baseball on the draft stuff.
Yeah.
Next year is supposed to be like one of those like Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts. Like there's going to be like 10 players at the top of the draft that are supposed to be all world. So like the Eagles were floating the idea today, like, oh well, we could negotiate and be malleable and we'll take a first next year and a second this year. And it's like, no, I just don't want to give you a first, period.
But I think if you're getting in first round talent, why wouldn't you give up first round talent even next year? Because the Patriots aren't going to pick top 10 next year. Let's not kid ourselves.
Oh, I think they could.
You think they're going to do that bad next year?
I don't think they're going to be that bad, but
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be picking in the top 10.
We'll see. Their schedule's a lot harder.
I understand that, but the top 10?
Their schedule's a lot harder.
I understand that, but if you bring in an actual receiver, if you address the guard position, and Chaseon comes back and you get a couple of guys in the draft to beef up the defense a little bit.
And again, this is why I think like the Brian Thomas Jr. thing is more likely. I think that the cost on him is low and the value is high. So that's why I think they're gonna.
I think it's still a first though.
Yeah, and they'll give up the first this year.
No, but I think it's more than the 31st overall pick.
I do too. I think
if they get that up, they're going to be looking for their value either in the second or third round, which are big picks. Or I could see something like a 4th this year and next year's first because they're going to bank on the Patriots not going back to the Super Bowl.
No, I'm saying this is the other piece of this is I think the first round pick next year is off the table for the Patriots. I think it's completely off the table.
I think it's stupid if it is, because either you're going to go for it or you're not. Like, this is the whole thing. Like, this is, anyways, that's fair. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm just saying
No. I know what you're saying, and I
you're getting a first round talent. Right. You're getting a guy who's a proven first round talent. He's young. He's affordable at the moment. Why don't you make this move?
Right, and it's what they love. Right, it's what we just talked about. He's cheap. He's going to be cheap for the next 3 years, which is what they love. Inexpensive, so they can spend on all the defense they want.
So I need to talk about something, Mike, because I got a little embarrassed by one of our Pats Nation members yesterday.
Oh boy, what did he do?
Not sure if you saw this tweet from Boston Cream.
No, I mean I see a lot of stuff lately from people that I want to disavow.
Boston Cream, he's got 20-something thousand followers. Him and I started coming up around the same time on Twitter, and we were growing at the same pace. And obviously, I got my Twitter account banned, and now I'm lost in the shuffle. But found out yesterday he's Canadian, which made this even worse. And I want to share my screen because I don't even want this snipped to be like, look what Ray just said. It's how bad it is. This is how bad it is, Mike. So I put this out. So I don't know if you can see this, but he wrote, report, the New England Patriots will not pursue wide receiver Rondale Moore in free agency, per source.
Were you the source?
Dude, I was like, that's bad. Like, that's bad. And I put out on our official account. I don't typically speak for Mike and I on the official account, but I felt that Mike would be okay with me saying this is awful and embarrassing. And I said, as both a Patriots fan and a Canadian, I hate that this moron represents us.
Dude, I can't tell you how. And like, you sent me something, but at least you didn't publish it. And you were like, I think I got duped. There's so many people over the last like 72 hours that are just like getting moved
But
along like a freaking
Rondale
rabbit.
Moore just took his own life.
Oh,
you know what I
did he?
mean? You didn't hear about that?
No.
Rondale Moore, like 2 weeks ago, took his own life.
Oh no, I didn't know this.
Yes. So it was a very distasteful tweet. That's why I was so upset.
Oh, okay. I thought everybody was just making fun of it because it was like the Cardinals' like third wide receiver. Oh,
no,
okay.
February 21st, 2026. Rondale, he took his own life.
Oh well, yeah. In that case, then sorry, I didn't know.
Okay, so let's redo this again so nobody clips that, Mike.
Yeah.
Let's just. I want to protect Mike a little bit now because Mike had not heard the story. So let's do this again.
Sure.
So this douchebag called Boston Cream, a Canadian kid, writes, report, the New England Patriots will not pursue wide receiver Rondale Moore in free agency, per source. And to me, it was just gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just gross. And he's rightfully getting ripped apart. And people are like, oh, dude, people got to learn how to take a joke. And I'm like, man, there's just some things you don't joke about, you know. And Mike, you know what I did in my previous career.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I really enjoyed, he wrote, he put a poll out yesterday that said, do you enjoy his content? 8,872 votes. There's 1 day left, so people can go vote. 92.4% say no.
Wow.
And everything he has posted today is just him being, just him getting trashed, right? Trashed, which is, yeah. Anywho, I'm embarrassed that this dude's Canadian, and his BS apology was, to those who have been affected by self-harm, I apologize if my tweet affected you. Twitter, and particularly my tweets, are not a platform where people should be reminded of the worst times in their life. For those of you who are dealing with mental health issues or struggles in their life, please, for the sake of those who care about you, reach out via call, text 988-GO-PATS. I'm not apologizing to the people who wished ill upon me or feel like they have power over me or anyone else, but rather those who were reminded of the horrors of self-harm. Like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, then you want to put out your high horse, I'm just sorry that I'm not sorry at all. Like, it's basically what he just chanted out there.
Yeah, I mean, this dude has some tertiary connections to like things other than Twitter, right? Like, I don't know if you probably don't ever listen to like the Patriots like official podcast material.
No.
But he'll like call into their show. They know who he is. He like organizes some stuff with like the actual like Patriots content squad. So this is a dude who's known, right? Boston Cream is known far and wide, you know, kind of throughout Patriots media land. And yeah, like, listen, I didn't know what was going on clearly, but I'm not gonna joke about somebody's death. Certainly not, like a couple weeks after the fact. Like, if you were, just don't do it. It's not tasteful. Unfortunately, that's what social media is most of the time. People not being tasteful.
So I don't think there's ever a time that it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just don't think there's ever a time that it's okay. Anyways, quick transition here.
Yep.
look, there's no way to transition off that guy kind of stuff, guys. So I just want to say, did you hear this story today that Tom Brady basically put in or it came out on the weekend, basically put up a wall and said that there's no way that Max Crosby is going to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots?
I did hear this today. This was a big talking point on, Boston radio because they used it as a nice primer to free agency, right? Like just to get everybody kind of riled up. Like, listen, I don't believe this, or if it's true, and it's so ironic to me that if Tom Brady is actually doing this, this makes him more like the man that he hated for the last 10 years of his football career than he would ever love to admit, because you're basically saying you'd be willing to give up better value just to spite somebody, which was kind of like Bill Belichick's kryptonite for a couple of years that led to his downfall in New England, right? Like, oh, the Browns will take Jimmy Garoppolo for 2 first-round picks. No, F them and F the owner because I'm mad at him. I'm gonna send him to San Francisco. That's what this smells like.
But essentially, the Pittsburgh Steelers have done things to block the Patriots. Like the Patriots wanted to trade with the Steelers and give the Steelers draft pick capital for AJ Brown, and they said no. Tom Brady has become can we just walk the history a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
When Tom Brady didn't throw his weight behind the Patriots for Super Bowl 60,
mm-hmm.
I had fun with it on this show, but I actually took that as Tom Brady is going to do his job professionally no matter what he does. He's a broadcaster now. There's no way that he could give, a one-sided take one way or the other. I don't think it had anything to do with the offensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator becoming his next head coach. I think it had everything to do with Tom Brady taking his job seriously. Where guys like Julian Edelman and Gronkowski, they don't care. Or Brewski, they're like Patriots for life, whatever. Yeah. When I started getting suspicious of Tom Brady was when they asked him about Drake May, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't seen any of his film. I've seen 7 plays."
Well, yeah, which and
I was like, Tom, come on, man. And I remember there was some sort of prominent Patriots guys, media guys, floating out there that Tom Brady wasn't happy that they made it back to the Super Bowl so quickly, and that they kind of found their guy. And and not getting there and getting there with Vrabel. And I've also heard rumors that Brady's much more of a Belichick defender than most people think. Does it or would it surprise you if you heard he's getting that petty?
In this instance, again, for this player, I don't believe it because I don't think the Patriots were ever really in on him. I just don't. But there is that competitive spark within Brady that would believe me as an owner that he would get this petty about certain things, especially with Vrabel of all people, because I think Vrabel would probably know how to push his buttons if a negotiation went south. Oh, okay, you don't want to trade him to me, you're a great owner anyway. You've been doing this for a long time. And I'm not doing it justice, but Mike Vrabel knows how to push people's buttons. He's a savant.
He does. I could see Brady sitting there in the room going, anybody but the Patriots. They kept it in the. Here's the thing. I saw people like, well, guys, what did you think? He didn't want to make somebody in the AFC better. And then he traded him to the Ravens. They traded him to Baltimore. So a team that probably on paper was already projected to be better than the Patriots.
Right.
Mike, to me, it's like the Seth Wickensham story. It's like all that. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
And it's always like that. And I gotta say, Tom Brady has, even you were talking about, I think a couple of weeks ago, Belichick was talking about the Patriots and he was saying we, referring to the
Right.
Patriots. Like, we're going to do this. We got to do that. Like, all the old Patriots guys, all the guys, like Brewski kept saying, and I think Brucey said it, Wilfork said it, like, Vrabel's your guy. Like, you played with him. This
Right.
isn't even like it's just like the Patriots are back. Like, that's literally a dude who was one of the instrumental forces behind the Patriots way, and you won't back the Patriots or back him or back the owner who you say is your daddy or whatever it may be. Like, I really do believe, like, and I think what Patriot fans need to start understanding now, like, the banners belong to Brady, but
Mhm.
Brady no longer belongs to the Patriots, and the Patriots no longer belong to Brady. And I can't stress this enough for anybody. Tom Brady does not care about New England, and does
No.
not care about New England Patriots fans, and does not care about Robert Kraft. And if it's up to Tom Brady, the Patriots will never win another Super Bowl, so he can retire and his ego can be, I'm the only one who ever brought a Super Bowl to that city. And I'm telling you that right now, guys. So go idolize the trophy or the statue and
Yeah.
bow to it. But I don't put this behind him. And again, I told you I only put the story in so I could rip on Tom Brady, because I think that people
Which you
believe
love
that.
to do.
Well, I think that because people, I think, believe that Brady has this like connection to New England. That's
Mhm.
not there. Gronk has come back 1,000, or I say come back, I'm here in Toronto, but
Yeah.
Gronk has gone back to Boston 1,000 times to do a park and to do this and to do that. Edelman has his fingers all over Boston.
Yeah.
You know, guys are constantly. When has Tom Brady been back to Boston to do anything for Boston?
Don't
As
forget.
soon as free agency hit and he signed with the Bucks, he dropped his chair. He was no longer the chair of the Special Olympics
Charity.
or whatever
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady does not care about Boston. He doesn't care about New England. He doesn't care about the team. He cares about his legacy, and that's all. And Patriot fans got to get over it. And I'm with Dave Portnoy. Take the statue down.
I think there is a piece to this that does speak to that, and the last part that you did. Brady carries himself kind of like a billionaire and not a millionaire. Like, he's very like private, exclusive. Like, I could see a lot of these NFL guys walking the street with their security and being fine. Tom Brady carries himself like he's a billionaire and like doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to be heard from unless he's dictating the terms of that appearance, right? Like when he's on TV, when he does a podcast, when he does what he wants to do. He doesn't want to be seen doing like average nice guy stuff. And here's the other thing, too, that we can loop back into this. That Tom Brady, I think, does love Robert Kraft. I think he does have fondness for him. But there is that psycho killer mentality of Tom Brady that speaks to his level of competitiveness that I think there's a seed always down there that's going to go. I'll just use an example of what I think to be true. I tried to buy a piece of the team that I effing love and was part of, and instead of letting me buy a piece of that team, you made me go to freaking Mark Davis and told me there was nothing to be had. And then a year later or 2 years later, carved off like 8% to give to private equity. Like, what the F? Things like that. And he's never going to let you know that because he's jolly, gee, oh shucks, gee willikers, Tom Brady. Whenever you see him in public, and then when he goes and shuts the door in his film room while he's watching Drake May, get sacked a million times in the Super Bowl, he's going, F these guys. F them.
You know what else he'll never tell you either? And this is probably what is 8% of $9 billion?
I think it, yeah. Like, let's just call. I think it was like 800 or 900 million.
Yeah. Tom Brady doesn't have that kind of money. He doesn't have Giselle's money anymore. Everybody.
No.
Tom Brady doesn't have almost $1 billion kicking around to buy 8% of the team.
I think he bought 3% of the Raiders, and the big holdup was he bought it at a massive discount, right? Which I actually do agree with Robert Kraft. I'll let you buy in, but you're gonna buy it for face value. I'm not gonna give you $1 billion for 200 million or whatever it was, because one of Brady's investors is who fronted like 90% of the cash for all this, because he's going to be the future owner of the Raiders. Like, I don't want to get into that whole dynamic, but Mark Davis doesn't have a successor. This guy who's with Brady's ownership group is the one who's going to end up buying the
Of course
Raiders.
it is, and this was his in because
Yeah.
Tom Brady could get in. Of course, he was used. So I know, like, I agree with. Look, Mike, I love you. You know that,
Mhm.
but let's be fair. If Dear Pats Nation was worth what it was worth in its prime, I wouldn't just be like, "Come on in, take 50% of the revenue."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'd be like, "All right, Mike. Like, outside of the investment that you're putting into this, like, this is going to be your return every year.
Right.
So this is the investment I need you to make because I'm giving up 50% of the equity that Connor and I built or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now the brand is worth nothing. So I'm like, hey, let's build it together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, let's right now. And I'm not saying that to be a douche, but I'm saying it's worth nothing at this point. So like, let's build it together. So I totally get it from a business perspective. There's no friendships in business. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I've messaged you and been like, you owe me this money. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, if there's no like, hey, I know we're friends, let's figure it out. It's like, dude, we need to spend this money. Like, you got to pay it, right? Like, let's go.
Right. And that's that. Like, I understand why in Brady's mind there is a point of contention. I understand why in Robert Kraft's mind he's going, there's not a point of contention because I was never going to give you a discount on this because it's dollars and cents.
Yeah, and for me, and I will never defend Robert Kraft of all people in this situation. I will, dude. This guy bought this team, was losing money. They were on the brink of leaving New England and going to Hartford.
Yeah.
He found investors and made deals to keep them in New England, turned it into one of the most profitable franchises. And yes, Tom Brady winning championships was a part of that.
Yeah.
But trust me, your $12 hot dogs that y'all are buying at Gillette Stadium and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that it's called Gillette Stadium, guess what? Gillette pays a whole lot of money to put the name on it. It's not Brady Stadium. It's Gillette Stadium, and Gillette pays a whole lot of money to make that Gillette Stadium. Anyways, we are 20 minutes above, but I wanted to get to that. Mike, I always appreciate you. I need to go eat. It is 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. It should be 7:30. This damn time change is screwing me up.
You guys still do that?
Yeah, we do. You don't do it? You don't do it in my
No, we do. I thought you guys stopped doing it for some reason.
No, the different provinces have, but the West Coast that gets more sunshine than we do. Like they, look, we're in that weird time of the year right now, and I know Mass weather is actually a little worse than Toronto weather, but like we're in that weird time of year. My car today read, because I was sitting in the sun, read out at 25 degrees Celsius, which is like, I don't know, like 74 Fahrenheit.
I was gonna say, it was 70 in the sun here. The weather was so like it was below 0 2 days ago, and there was still a foot of snow on the ground. Now it's all melted and it's 70 degrees.
Ours is almost gone. We had some very high snow banks here, but for the most part I see my grass. But then like we're getting 10 centimeters of snow on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then we're getting more snow next week. So it's like we're in that weird time of year when like the weather just fluctuates. Our West Coast, like BC, it's like California. It's not as hot, but like they're already done winter out west, right? So they got rid of the time change. They want to keep it as is. For us, it's like, first of all, the time change tells me spring is almost here. That's like the official, like we're almost there. And this has been a bad effing winter, like a bad winter. Is everybody? I know everybody's got it. I mean, you guys got slammed while I was away. New York got it even worse, but I know that you guys got
Rhode Island in that last blizzard got more than 3 feet of snow in like a half a day. Like that it's incredible.
Did you know in Toronto we got more snow in a 1 week period than we had for 3 combined winters?
Yeah, I would believe it with how bad this winter's been, because I was, me and my dad do the snow removal for like my house and a couple of family members, and we were just like, we don't remember the last time it was ever this bad in such a short order, because sometimes you would have it be bad and then melt and then it would be bad again, not just like, I had to go snowblow paths in my backyard for my dog because it was so high that he was like, I don't know what to do.
Now we're at that point where I gotta wipe my dog's feet every time she comes in because my backyard's just a mud pile and literally
Wow.
in the shit from the winter. Like it's like she comes in, it's just a combination of mud and dog shit. So it's
Sounds about right.
and you have a big dog, you know what it's like. They don't
Yeah.
have these like little pellets, like they're these
No.
just massive. Anyways, good way to end the show. We'll see
Yeah.
y'all next week. Possibly, maybe, Mike, I may show you a text. If some big things happen, even if we jumped on for 15 minutes, maybe we should discuss it at some point. So we'll stay fluid this week and figure that out as we go. Anyways, until next week, Mike, tell me about those Patriots.
They're gonna be legit, kid.
Dear Pats Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pats Nation. Nation. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation. Nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation. And the show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.